Hey, welcome back to World Entertainment, and we have a brand new and final trailer for the new Mummy movie. No, not the Brendan Fraser one, the Lee Cronin one. And they've dropped a bunch of new posters for this thing as well. Now, I was always wondering how in the hell they were able to call this thing the Mummy, being the fact that Universal seems to own the Mummy. It was meant to be from Blumhouse, and only Blumhouse from what I understand. And they're now slating it as Universal and Blumhouse. But I've never seen Universal's name attached to this thing, so I'm still confused about the whole thing. And quite frankly, especially after we see this trailer, and I said it with all the other ones, this thing should not be called the Mummy. It has nothing to do with the Mummy, Egyptian mythology, anything like that from what you can see. So here is this final trailer, which really does highlight exactly what it is you're going to get with this movie. So here it is.
Our daughter's been missing for 8 years. What was she doing? In a 3,000-year-old sarcophagus.
Katie was never supposed to be found. She was meant to stay buried.
I want to know all the things about you. Like what? Like how your little piggies taste.
What happened to Katie?
Dad?
Alright, so there is the final trailer for Lee Cronin's The Mummy. And you can really see, I've been saying it all along, but this trailer really does just highlight it. It's just your run-of-the-mill, generic, nothing new horror movie that Blumhouse just pumps out on a weekly basis. There really is nothing that stands out that makes you go, ooh, this is really The Mummy. It's just your run-of-the-mill, typical, all the same beats of all these modern horrors now, with the weird kind of noise that the girl makes, and it always seems to be a child now that something happens with, and it's just like, why did you call this The Mummy? And that is the thing. There was that rumour that they were going to rename it The Resurrection or The Resurrected, and I think they should have done that. Especially now with the actual Mummy 4 coming out with Brendan Fraser and stuff. Because once you look at it, it's like, it's a horror movie set in a house. Like, where exactly was the Mummy element of this come into? It's so strange. Now, the child is meant to be possessed by the spirit of a mummy or something, and she's able to pass it on. Not to the point of it leaves her and goes into other people. It takes over other people as well as her, which is why you see her with what's meant to be her little sister. That's meant, like, when she licks her toes, apparently the sister gets possessed as well. And yeah, it's just your typical bog standard run-of-the-mill horror movie. I don't understand why they call this thing The Mummy, but then you get the posters. The posters are fine. You know, they're not like terrible or anything like that. They're interesting enough posters. They're just kind of okay. You know, again, I think, how many people will look at these posters and see it just say The Mummy and think, wait, the Brendan Fraser Mummy? Because I think that's one of the problems they're going to run into, and maybe that's what they're banking on. Maybe they're hoping that that will attract people. They go, ooh, hang on, a new Mummy movie already? And yeah, the problem is this will be obviously a hard R-rated movie. It's also interesting that it seems to be coming out in IMAX. So why? I don't know. At least I think it's coming out in IMAX. I thought it said IMAX somewhere, but it's... it would make no sense to me. Yeah, the first poster says IMAX on it, and it's like, nothing about this screams IMAX. Like, when you're sitting there and you're looking at it, it's like, what in this generic horror movie that you could have slapped any title on and it would just still be your run-of-the-mill horror movie? What in the world says about this IMAX? That's so strange to me. It's coming out in a few weeks. It's out on the 17th of this month, so they really are starting to kind of ramp up promoting this, but the only place I'm ever seeing anything from it is the likes of YouTube. I'm not seeing this being promoted anywhere else. You know, that's just me. You know, you guys could be seeing it here, there, and everywhere, in sides of buses or whatnot. I ain't seen that anywhere. This YouTube and the internet is the only place I'm seeing it being promoted, and it's not like it's being promoted on the build up to it where like your standard, here's a new poster, here's some new information, here's a TV spot. It's literally, here's a new trailer. Each time I've spoken about this movie has been when they've dropped a trailer. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really know who this is for in terms of when you're naming it and branding it The Mummy, because when you look at the trailer, you're not going to attract the Mummy fans. And I don't just mean the Brendan Fraser movies. I'm talking about, in general, the actual Mummy. I think when people sit down and they see that trailer and they're going to go like, what part of this is the Mummy exactly? What, because the child is in the sarcophagus? That seems to be the only real connection. Even when we hear how the child gets taken in the first place is like a voodoo witch or something. And it's like, what's that got to do with mummies and stuff like that? It's so strange. It really is. And I think the rumor of changing the title, they should have done that. I really think they should have done the title change because, yeah, I don't know who you think you're going to fool with this. And we've heard about the test screenings for this as well that said it's a disaster. So, you know, it's probably made for next to nothing. So it's not like they're probably expecting massive amounts of money. But at the same time, you know, when you look at it and stuff, like these trailers, I think there's enough there to make you kind of go, I've no interest in this. We'll have to wait and see, but there is the final trailer and these new posters. Again, the posters are fine, you know, they look okay. Again, if it didn't say The Mummy and it said something else, you might be more inclined to say they're very impressive or something, but they're not terrible by any means. But yeah, I just think The Mummy is the wrong branding for this, but that's my opinion. What's yours? What do you think about all these trailers and these posters? Are you interested in this movie? Are you excited for this movie? Or do you think, yeah, they should have changed the name? Do let me know what you guys think. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.